Captain Adrian Hale stood in the massive hall of the Galactic Council, his hands clenched behind his back. The room was grand, with floating light panels and holographic displays showing the many-member species of the Council. Tall reptilian diplomats, small insect-like beings, and glowing energy-based life forms sat in high-back seats, watching the center of the room. Adrian wore the official uniform of the United Earth Fleet, its blue and silver colors standing out against the golden tones of the chamber. He had come here to discuss humanity's growing role in the galaxy, but something felt wrong. Beside him, Ambassador Rowan, an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes, cleared his throat. "We appreciate the Council's support in maintaining peace in this galaxy. However, recent reports suggest that the warlike Selvar species has been increasing its attacks on outer colonies. We request military aid to protect our people." The Council's leader, Chancellor Oslin, a tall and thin alien with dark, leathery skin, nodded slowly. "Your concerns are noted, Captain Hale, Ambassador Rowan. However, the Council must act with care. We cannot risk full-scale war with the Selvar." Adrian's jaw tightened. "With respect, Chancellor, the Selvar don't want peace. They've attacked human settlements, destroyed our trade routes, and taken prisoners. If we don't act now, they will only grow stronger." Oslin exchanged a glance with the other council members. For a moment, silence filled the hall. Then, another alien, Senator Verlo, a large insectoid being with clicking mandibles, spoke. "Humanity must show patience. We are discussing possible diplomatic solutions." Hadrian couldn't believe what he was hearing. That Selvar didn't negotiate. They conquered. Every species in the room knew it. Ambassador Rowan nodded politely. "We understand, but we hope the Council will." "We have already made our decision," Oslin interrupted. "The Council will not interfere." Adrian's fists clenched. He knew politics were slow, but this felt deliberate. The meeting ended soon after, and as Adrian and Rowan left the chamber, a shadowy figure stepped into their path. He was tall, wearing a dark cloak, but his four glowing eyes marked him as a Valeri, an old and mysterious race. "My name is Vorin," the figure said, his voice low. "We must speak. Now." Rowan frowned. "Who are you?" Vorin glanced around before lowering his voice. "A friend. And if you wish to save your people, you will listen." Adrian's instincts screamed danger, but he had faced worse. "We're listening." Vorin led them to a quiet hallway away from the main chamber. The lights flickered slightly, giving the place a cold, abandoned feel. Then, in a serious tone, Vorin whispered, "The Council has betrayed you." Rowan's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Vorin's voice was urgent. "They have made a secret deal with the Excelvar. In exchange for peace, they have agreed to sacrifice Earth." Adrian felt his stomach drop. "That's not possible." "It is," Vorin said. "The Council is afraid of war. The Selvar demanded a target to satisfy their hunger for conquest. The Council agreed to let them take your world, your people, while they stay safe behind their fleets." Rowan's face turned pale. "No, this can't be true." But Adrian already knew it was. The Council's refusal to act, their empty words about diplomacy, the way they dismissed Earth's concerns. It all made sense now. Adrian exhaled sharply. "How much time do we have?" Vorin hesitated. "Days, maybe less. The Selvar fleet is already moving toward your system. The Council will do nothing to stop them." Rowan turned to Adrian. "We have to warn Earth." Adrian nodded. "And we need to prepare for war." Vorin reached into his cloak and handed Adrian a small data chip. "This holds proof of their betrayal. Share it with your leaders, but be careful. If the Council learns of this, they will silence you." Adrian took the chip, his grip tightening. If humanity was going to survive, they had to act fast. Without another word, he turned and walked away, Rowan beside him. As they left, Adrian sent a single encrypted message to Earth's Defense Command. Prepare for war. The betrayal had begun, but so had humanity's fight for survival. Captain Adrian Hale walked quickly through the long steel corridors of the U.S. Valiant, his mind racing. The ship was one of Earth's most advanced warships, equipped with powerful cannons, energy shields, and a stealth system that could hide it from enemy sensors. But even with all its strength, Adrian knew the coming war would not be easy. Beside him, Ambassador Rowan kept pace, his face still pale from the shocking truth they had learned. "We have to warn Earth," Rowan said, his voice urgent. "If the Council has truly betrayed us, we need every soldier, every ship ready for battle." Adrian nodded. "We will, but we need proof." He held up the small data chip that Vorin, the mysterious Vel-Eri diplomat, had given them. "This chip has the evidence. If we can show it to Earth's leaders, they'll believe us." They entered the command center of the Valiant. The large circular room was filled with officers and crew working at their stations. The main screen showed a map of the galaxy, and a red marker was moving fast, toward Earth. The Selvar fleet was already on the move. Commander Reyna Torres, Adrian's second-in-command, turned to him as they entered. She was a skilled officer, known for her sharp instincts and fearless attitude. "Captain, we just picked up movement near the outer colonies. We think it's the Selvar." Adrian's expression darkened. "How long before they reach Earth?" Reyna typed a few commands into her console. "At their current speed, maybe 3 days." Rowan exhaled sharply. "That's not enough time." Adrian placed the data chip into the ship's system. "I'm sending the proof to Earth Command now. They need to see this." He activated the transmission, and the encrypted files began transferring to the United Earth Defense Network. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, an alert flashed on the screen. "War ending. Transmission blockade." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "What?" Reyna checked the system. "Captain, someone is stopping our message. The Council must have detected it." Rowan looked worried. "If the Council knows we have the proof, they'll try to stop us." Adrian clenched his jaw. "We'll send it another way." He turned to Reyna. "Prepare a stealth drone. Load the data onto it and send it to Earth manually." Reyna nodded and got to work. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. "Incoming transmission from the Galactic Council," one of the officers called out. Adrian took a deep breath. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, and the face of Chancellor Oslan appeared. His dark, leathery skin looked calm, but his eyes were cold. "Captain Hale," Oslan said in a smooth voice, "we have detected an unauthorized transmission from your vessel. I assume you have been missiled by unreliable sources." Adrian kept his face neutral. "I don't know what you mean, Chancellor." Oslan's expression didn't change. "Captain, this is a delicate matter. Humanity's role in the galaxy is still uncertain. If you continue spreading dangerous rumors, you will force us to take action." Rowan stepped forward. "You mean you'll silence us?" Oslan sighed. "We want peace, Captain Hale. Do not make a mistake that will bring war to your people." Adrian crossed his arms. "The mistake was trusting you." Oslan's eyes narrowed. "Very well. If you choose war, then war is what you shall have." The transmission cut off. For a moment, the room was silent. Then Reyna spoke. "Captain, we just detected multiple ships heading straight for us." Adrian's mind raced. "The Council is sending forces after us." Rowan clenched his fists. "They're trying to stop us from warning Earth." Adrian turned to Reyna. "How long until the stealth drone reaches Earth?" 5 minutes until launch," she said. Adrian nodded. "Good. Prepare for combat. If the Council wants a fight, we'll give them one." The crew moved quickly, activating the ship's defense systems. Adrian sat in the captain's chair, gripping the armrests. "We warned them," he muttered. "Now they'll see what humanity can do." Outside, in the vast emptiness of space, The battle for survival was about to begin. The U.S. Valiant drifted silently in space, its engines humming as the crew prepared for battle. The Galactic Council's betrayal had been confirmed, and now they were coming to silence the only humans who knew the truth. Captain Adrian Hale sat in his command chair, his sharp eyes fixed on the main screen. Beside him, Commander Reyna Torres read the incoming signals. "Captain," she said, "we have 3 Council warships approaching fast. Their weapons are armed." Adrian clenched his jaw. "They really don't waste time." Beside him, Ambassador Rowan shook his head. "They're afraid of the truth. If Earth finds out about the betrayal, the Council loses control." Reyna's hands moved over her console. "Captain, our stealth drone has launched. It's moving toward Earth at top speed." Adrian nodded. "Good. Now we just have to survive long enough for that message to reach them." The Council fleet was getting closer. The ships were large and heavily armed, designed for enforcing the Council's will across the galaxy. Against a normal enemy, they would be overwhelming. But Adrian and his crew weren't normal. They were human, and they weren't going down without a fight. The first shot. The lead Council ship sent a transmission. The face of a cold-looking alien, Commander Velker, appeared on the screen. "Captain Hale," Velker said, his voice calm but firm, "surrender your vessel. Shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy you." Adrian leaned forward, a small smirk on his lips. "If you want us, Velker, then come and get us." Velker's eyes narrowed. Then the screen cut off. A second later, the first laser blasts shot toward the Valiant. "Evasive maneuvers," Adrian shouted. Reyna's hands flew over the controls, and the Valiant twisted through space, dodging the deadly beams. The ship shook as a few shots grazed its shields. "They're targeting our engines," Reyna reported. Adrian's mind worked fast. "Bring the forward cannons online. Fire at their sensors." The Valiant's weapons roared to life, sending powerful energy blasts straight at the enemy ships. The lead Council ship was hit, its sensors flickering as sparks flew from its hull. "They're blinded," Rowan said. Adrian didn't waste a second. "Full speed ahead. Get us behind them." The Valiant raced forward, slipping past the enemy's line of fire. The Council ships tried to adjust, but their damaged sensors made it difficult. "Fire torpedoes," Adrian ordered. 2 plasma torpedoes shot from the Valiant, striking one of the Council ships on its side. The explosion ripped through its hull, sending debris flying into space. "1 down, 2 to go," Reyna said. A desperate gamble. The remaining Council ships regrouped, adjusting their formation. They weren't underestimating the Valiant anymore. "They're charging their main cannons," Reyna warned. Adrian made a split-second decision. "Shut down all power except for life support." Reyna's eyes widened. "You want to play dead? It's our best chance." The Valiant's engines powered down, and the ship floated lifelessly in space. To the Council ships, it looked like their last attack had crippled the vessel. Velker's voice returned through the comms. "Your fight is over, Captain Hale." Adrian waited. The enemy ships moved closer, preparing to finish them off. Then, "Now," Adrian shouted. The Valiant's engines roared back to life, and its rear cannons fired all at once. The surprise attack hit the closest Council ship directly in the engines. The explosion was massive, sending shockwaves across space. The final enemy ship hesitated. "That's right," Adrian muttered. "Run." And it did. The last Council ship turned and activated its warp drive, vanishing into deep space. The battle ends. The war begins. The Valiant floated in silence for a moment. Smoke rose from a few consoles, and the lights flickered, but they were still alive. Reyna let out a breath. "We did it." Rowan shook his head. "No, this was just the beginning." Adrian turned to the main screen, where the red marker of the Selvar fleet was still moving toward Earth. "We won this battle," Adrian said. But the real war is about to begin. He took a deep breath and sent a single message to Earth's leaders. Prepare for war. The Council has betrayed us, and the enemy is coming. We stand together, or we fall alone. And with that, humanity's last stand had begun. The U.S. Valiant drifted through space, its hull scarred from battle, but still standing strong. The Galactic Council's attack had failed, but Captain Adrian Hale knew it was only the beginning. Inside the command center, the crew worked quickly, repairing systems and assessing damage. Commander Reyna Torres stood beside Adrian, her face serious. "We lost 30% of our shields in that fight," she reported. "Weapons are still functional, but we burned through a lot of power." Adrian nodded. "And the stealth drone?" Reyna checked her console. "Still on course. It should reach Earth soon." Ambassador Rowan leaned against the railing, watching the galactic map on the main screen. The Selvar fleet was still moving toward Earth. He let out a slow breath. "We don't have much time, do we?" Adrian shook his head. "No. And when the Selvar arrive, Earth won't be ready." A silence filled the room. They had survived one battle, but the war was still coming. A dangerous plan. Adrian turned to his crew. "We need to warn as many people as possible. The Council will try to keep this secret, but if we can get the truth out, they won't be able to stop it," Rowan finished. Reyna frowned. "How?" "The Council controls most of the galaxy's communications. If we try to send a wide broadcast, they'll block it." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "Then we send the message directly." Rowan raised an eyebrow. "To who?" Adrian pulled up a list of contacts on his console. "There are independent human colonies outside the Council's control. Smugglers, mercenaries, even former soldiers who don't trust the Council." He looked at Reyna. "We send the message to them." Reyna's lips curled into a small smile. "You want to start a rebellion?" Adrian met her gaze. "If the Council betrayed us, we won't fight alone." Rowan crossed his arms. "This is risky. The Council will come after anyone who helps us." Adrian sighed. "They already have." The room was silent for a moment. Then Reyna nodded. "I'll start sending the message." Rowan exhaled and looked back at the map. "I hope we're not too late." The enemy's move. Suddenly, an alarm blared across the command center. A young officer turned from her station, her face pale. "Captain, we just detected a Council strike team approaching our location." Adrian's expression darkened. "How many ships?" "3 cruisers, heavily armed." Rowan cursed. "They must have tracked our signal." Reyna tapped the controls. "They'll be in range in 5 minutes." Adrian thought fast. "We can't take another fight like last time." Reyna looked up. "Then what's the plan?" Adrian's mind raced. They couldn't outrun the cruisers, not in their damaged state. But there was another way. "We hide," he said. Rowan frowned. "Hide? How?" Adrian pulled up a nearby asteroid field on the star map. "We go in there, kill the engines, shut down all power, and let the rocks hide us." Reyna raised an eyebrow. "That's risky." Adrian smirked. "Everything we do is risky." Into the asteroids. The Valiant turned sharply, speeding toward the asteroid field. Huge rocks floated in space, some the size of mountains. "Kill all lights and power," Adrian ordered. "Let them think we're dead." The ship's systems shut down, leaving only emergency life support running. The Valiant drifted silently among the asteroids. On the main screen, they watched as the Council cruisers entered the area. "They're scanning for us," Reyna whispered. Adrian watched the enemy ships glide through space, searching. He gripped the armrest of his chair, barely breathing. Seconds passed, then minutes. One of the cruisers turned sharply. "They're moving away," Rowan said. The tension in the room eased as the cruisers disappeared from the radar. "They gave up," Reyna said. Adrian exhaled. "For now." The message sent. With the danger gone, The Valiant systems powered back up. Reyna tapped the controls. The message has been sent to our contacts. Adrian nodded. Then we wait. Rowan looked at the galactic map. The Selvar fleet was still coming. The Council will keep sending hunters after us, he said. Adrian clenched his fists. Let them. Because soon, the real battle would begin. The U.S. Valiant floated in the darkness of space, hidden among the drifting asteroids. The crew had narrowly escaped the Council's strike team, but Captain Adrian Hale knew it was only a matter of time before they were found again. Inside the dimly lit command center, the crew worked silently. Commander Reyna Torres checked the long-range scanners while Ambassador Rowan watched the star map with tired eyes. Reyna spoke first. No signs of enemy ships. For now, we're safe. Adrian nodded, his face serious. Good, but we can't stay here forever. Rowan leaned forward. Did anyone respond to our message? Reyna checked the communications panel. The message they had sent, calling for humans outside the Council's control to rise up, had been sent to smugglers, ex-soldiers, and hidden colonies. If help was coming, they needed to know soon. Then, a small light blinked on Reyna's console. She frowned. We got a response. Adrian stepped closer. Who is it? Reyna hesitated. It's coded, but I think it's from the Vanguard fleet. Rowan's eyes widened. The Vanguard. They'd vanished years ago. The Vanguard fleet had once been Earth's strongest defense force, but after the Council took control, they had refused to surrender. Instead of fighting a hopeless war, they had disappeared into deep space. Some said they had been destroyed. Others believed they were waiting for the right moment to return. Adrian's heart pounded. If the Vanguard was still alive. Reyna decoded the message and read it aloud. We have heard your call. Meet us at the coordinates below. We do not promise loyalty, but we will listen. A set of coordinates followed. Adrian clenched his fists. This is our chance. Rowan exhaled. Or it's a trap. Adrian nodded. It could be. But we don't have a choice. The journey to the unknown. The Valiant activated its engines and slipped out of the asteroid field, heading toward the coordinates. The journey would take hours, and tension filled the ship. Reyna approached Adrian as he stood near the main viewport, watching the stars blur past. You trust them? She asked. Adrian sighed. I trust that they hate the Council as much as we do. Reyna crossed her arms. And if it's a trap? Adrian smirked. Then we fight our way out. Reyna shook her head with a small smile. Always the same answer. Adrian chuckled. It always works. The hidden fleet. As they neared the coordinates, the crew braced themselves. The Valiant scanners detected nothing at first. The region of space was empty, just a few scattered asteroids and a distant, dying star. Then, a massive ship uncloaked right in front of them. It was unlike anything the Council had. Sleek, powerful, and unmistakably human. Reyna gasped. That's a battleship. More ships began to appear. Frigates, cruisers, even a few dreadnoughts. The Vanguard fleet had survived, and they were stronger than anyone had imagined. A communication request appeared on the screen. Adrian took a deep breath and accepted the call. The face of a battle-hardened man appeared. His sharp eyes studied Adrian carefully. This is Admiral Doran of the Vanguard fleet, he said. You sent a message. Now speak. Adrian stood tall. The Council has betrayed humanity. The Selvar fleet is coming to Earth. We need to fight back. Doran's expression didn't change. We have stayed hidden for a reason, Captain Hale. We do not fight wars that cannot be won. Adrian stepped forward. Then why did you call us here? Doran's gaze hardened. To see if you were worth fighting for. The test of fire. Without warning, alarms blared across the Valiant. Reyna checked her console. Weapons lock detected. They're targeting us. Doran's voice remained calm. If you want our help, prove that you deserve it. A group of Vanguard fighters launched from the battleship, heading straight for them. Adrian grinned. So that's how it is. He turned to his crew. Shields up. Evasive maneuvers. Let's show them what the Valiant can do. Reyna smirked. Now you're talking. The battle had begun, and humanity's last hope rested on the outcome. The U.S. Valiant shook as enemy fighters closed in. The Vanguard fleet was testing them, and if they failed, their last hope for allies would be lost. Captain Adrian Hale gripped the command chair. Reyna, evasive maneuvers. Rowan, get those weapons online. Commander Reyna Torres spun the ship, dodging the first wave of enemy fire. Red streaks of plasma zipped past the hull, barely missing. Ambassador Rowan slammed his fist on the console. They're not holding back. Adrian smirked. Then neither will we. The Valiant's cannons roared to life. The first blast hit an incoming fighter, forcing it to retreat. A second shot clipped another, sending it spiraling away. But there were more. Too many. We're outnumbered, Reyna warned. They have speed and firepower on their side. Adrian's mind raced. A direct fight would end in defeat, but they had one advantage: their wits. A clever gamble. Reyna, take us into that asteroid belt, Adrian ordered. Reyna's eyes widened. Are you crazy? That's suicide. Adrian's grin didn't fade. Only if you're bad at flying. Reyna muttered under her breath but obeyed. The Valiant veered hard, diving straight into the asteroid field. The Vanguard fighters followed, but they hesitated. They're slowing down, Rowan observed. Adrian nodded. They're trained soldiers, but they don't want to risk their ships. He turned to Reyna. We, on the other hand, are desperate. Take us deeper. Reyna skillfully maneuvered through the massive floating rocks, twisting and turning at high speed. The Vanguard pilots tried to keep up, but one clipped an asteroid and exploded. Another was forced to pull away. Rowan grinned. It's working. Adrian pointed at the screen. Reyna, get us behind that large asteroid. She did, and the Valiant powered down, hiding in the asteroid's shadow. The enemy fighters zoomed past, searching, but they couldn't find them. After a few minutes, they gave up and returned to the fleet. The call from the Admiral. A communication request flashed on the screen. Adrian took a deep breath and accepted the call. Admiral Doran's face appeared, his expression unreadable. That was impressive, Doran admitted. You think differently than most. Adrian leaned forward. We don't win by fighting like the enemy. We win by being smarter. Doran was silent for a moment, then he nodded. Perhaps you are the ones we've been waiting for. Rowan exhaled in relief. Does this mean you'll help? Doran's voice was firm. We will not fight for a lost cause, but if you can prove that Earth still has a chance, we will stand with you. Adrian narrowed his eyes. And how do we prove that? Doran's answer was simple. Steal back what was taken. A dangerous mission. A hologram of a Council-controlled space station appeared on the screen. The Council stole Earth's defense codes before they betrayed humanity, Doran explained. If you can recover them, Earth will have a real chance to fight back. Reyna frowned. That station is deep in enemy space. Adrian studied the map. High security. Strong defenses. A near impossible task. He grinned. Sounds like fun. Doran's lips curled into a small smile. Then welcome to the Resistance. The Vanguard fleet had just become their allies, and the war for humanity had truly begun. The U.S. Valiant flew silently through the darkness of space, approaching the massive Council-controlled space station. The station, known as Argon 9, was one of the most secure facilities in the galaxy. It held Earth's stolen defense codes, the key to humanity's survival. Inside the Valiant's command center, Captain Adrian Hale and his crew made final preparations. Commander Reyna Torres studied the station's schematics. Heavy defenses, multiple gun turrets, and a fleet of enemy ships nearby. She looked at Adrian. Are we really doing this? Adrian smirked. We don't have a choice. Ambassador Rowan sighed. Remind me again why we didn't pick an easier mission. Adrian leaned forward. Because this is how we win. A clever infiltration. The plan was dangerous, but simple. The Valiant couldn't attack directly, so they had to sneak in. Reyna activated the ship's stealth systems. The hull shimmered and faded, blending into the darkness. We're cloaked, she confirmed, but it won't last long. Adrian nodded. Take us in. The Valiant drifted toward the station, avoiding patrols. They reached a hidden docking bay underneath the structure. Reyna checked the sensors. No alarms. We're in. Adrian stood. All right, let's move. Inside the enemy's fortress, Adrian, Reyna, and Rowan stepped into the cold, metallic halls of Argon 9. They wore stolen council uniforms, blending in with the enemy soldiers. A security officer passed by without a second glance. Rowan whispered, This might actually work. Reyna smirked. Don't jinx it. They moved quickly, following the station's blueprints. The data vault holding Earth's defense codes was deep inside. They reached an elevator and stepped in. Adrian pressed the button for the lowest level. The doors closed. Then, a deep voice spoke behind them. You three. Stop. They turned. A council officer stood there, frowning. You don't look familiar. Adrian's mind raced. If this turned into a fight, the whole station would be alerted. Thinking fast, he saluted. New transfers from Sector 14, sir. The officer narrowed his eyes. Sector 14. Rowan coughed. Yes, sir. We just arrived this morning. The officer hesitated, then nodded. Carry on. The doors opened, and they stepped out. Reyna exhaled. That was close. Adrian grinned. Let's keep moving. The vault. The data vault was guarded by 2 soldiers. Adrian whispered, We take them out quietly. Reyna nodded. She moved fast, knocking one guard unconscious before he could react. Adrian grabbed the second, covering his mouth and pulling him into the shadows. Rowan shivered. I'm definitely not made for this. Adrian smirked. That's why you're on tech duty. Open the vault. Rowan hurried to the control panel. His fingers flew over the keys. The door hissed open. Inside, rows of data cores glowed softly. Reyna grabbed a small device from her belt, found the codes. She plugged the device into the system. A progress bar appeared. Data transfer, 10%. Adrian's instincts screamed at him. Hurry up. Data transfer, 50%. Footsteps echoed down the hall. Reyna tensed. We've got company. Data transfer, 80%. Adrian pulled out his blaster. Get ready. The doors slid open. 6 council soldiers stood outside. Their leader's eyes widened. Intruders. Open fire. The escape. Reyna slammed the door controls, sealing the vault. Rowan yelped. They know we're here. Data transfer, 100%. Reyna ripped the device free. We have the codes. Adrian grabbed his communicator. Valiant, we need an exit. Now. The station shook as explosions erupted outside. The Vanguard fleet had arrived, distracting the enemy ships. Rowan grinned. Our timing is perfect. Adrian and Reyna blasted open an air vent. Through here, Adrian ordered. They crawled through the narrow passage as alarms blared across the station. Soldiers shouted behind them. Reaching an exit, they leaped into space, right onto the waiting Valiant's docking ramp. Reyna shouted, Go, go, go. The Valiant's engines roared to life. The ship turned and vanished into hyperspace, escaping the chaos. Victory and war. Back on the bridge, Rowan clutched the stolen data core. We did it. Reyna grinned. Earth has a fighting chance now. Adrian stared at the star map. No more running. He turned to his crew. It's time to take the fight to the council. The final battle was coming, and humanity was ready. The U.S. Valiant emerged from hyperspace, surrounded by the Vanguard fleet. The stars ahead burned bright, but all eyes were on the massive Council dreadnought, stationed in Earth's orbit like a predator ready to strike. Captain Adrian Hale clenched his fists. This is it. Commander Reyna Torres scanned the battlefield. They have more ships than us. Ambassador Rowan took a deep breath. But we have the defense codes. Earth's planetary shields are coming back online. The stolen codes had been transmitted to Earth's resistance forces. For the first time since the Betrayal, humanity could fight back. Adrian activated the fleet-wide channel. This is Captain Hale to all forces. The Council thought we would break. They thought we would surrender. But today, we show them what humans are made of. A cheer rose through the comms. The battle for Earth had begun. The battle erupts. The Vanguard fleet surged forward, their weapons lighting up the void. Council warships fired back, unleashing a storm of plasma cannons and missile strikes. The Valiant weaved through the chaos, dodging explosions. Reyna called out, "Enemy fighters incoming." Adrian gritted his teeth. "Let's give them a warm welcome." The Valiant's cannons roared to life, cutting through the enemy squadrons. A Council cruiser exploded in a fiery blast. But the enemy was relentless. Rowan shouted, "The dreadnought is charging its super weapon." A colossal energy cannon glowed at the heart of the enemy flagship, aimed at Earth. Adrian's heart pounded. If that weapon fired, millions would die. A desperate plan. "We need to take out that cannon," Adrian said. "But we don't have enough firepower." Reyna's eyes narrowed. "Then we take out the whole ship." Rowan gasped. "You're joking, right?" "No joke," Adrian said. "We're going inside." The Valiant dove toward the dreadnought, dodging debris. Enemy turrets locked on, but the Vanguard fleet covered them, blasting the defenses aside. "Target the hangar doors," Adrian ordered. A missile barrage struck the enemy flagship's hull, blowing open an entrance. The Valiant rushed inside. Into the lion's den. Adrian, Reyna, and Rowan led a strike team into the dreadnought's core. The halls were lined with enemy soldiers. Blasters flared. The humans fought fiercely, pushing deeper into the ship. Rowan hacked into the system. "I found the reactor." Adrian nodded. "Then we overload it." They planted explosives around the reactor core. Reyna set the timer. "We have 5 minutes." Alarms blared. Enemy reinforcements rushed in. Adrian shouted, "Back to the ship." Now, the escape. They sprinted back as the countdown ticked away. The Valiant's engines were primed, ready to launch. Adrian turned to Reyna. "Punch it." The ship blasted out of the dreadnought's hangar, weaving past enemy fire. Behind them, the reactor detonated. A chain reaction tore through the dreadnought, flames bursting from its core. Rowan watched in awe. "It's working." The Council flagship exploded in a blinding light, taking hundreds of enemy ships with it. The battle was over. Earth was saved. Victory and a new dawn. The Vanguard fleet cheered as the last enemy ships fled. Adrian stood on the bridge, watching Earth's blue surface below. Reyna smirked. "We did it." Rowan exhaled. "I still can't believe it." A transmission came through from Earth. "Captain Hale, this is the United Earth Defense. You did it. We're free." Adrian smiled. "No, we all did it. The war wasn't over, but today, humanity had proven its strength, and the Council would never underestimate them again." The Council dreadnought was gone, destroyed in a massive explosion that lit up space like a second sun. The Vanguard fleet had emerged victorious, and Earth was finally safe. But Captain Adrian Hale knew the war was far from over. The Galactic Council had suffered a heavy loss, but they were not defeated. Their forces would regroup. They would come back. And next time, they would be prepared. A moment of silence. The U.S. Valiant hovered in low orbit over Earth. The crew stood on the bridge, staring at the world they had fought so hard to protect. Commander Reyna Torres leaned on the console, exhausted. "We lost a lot of good people today." Ambassador Rowan nodded. "But we saved millions more." Adrian exhaled. He had seen too many battles, too much destruction. But this was different. This was home. A transmission came through from Earth's command center. "This is General Marcus of the United Earth Defense. On behalf of every human being, I want to thank you all. Because of your bravery, Earth stands free." Adrian glanced at his crew. "It wasn't just us, General. Every soldier, every pilot, every engineer. They all fought for this." "Even so," Marcus said, "humanity owes you a great debt." The Council's response. A few hours later, as the fleet regrouped, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. It was a simple warning. "You may have won today, but humanity will never be accepted into the galaxy. You have chosen war. Prepare for what comes next." Rowan read the message out loud. Typical Council arrogance. Reyna scoffed. "We were never going to be accepted, not as equals." Adrian clenched his fists. "Then we make our own place in the galaxy." The Council had betrayed humanity, expecting them to surrender. Instead, they had fought back. And now, the Council feared them. A united humanity. The battle had proven something important, not just to the enemy, but to humanity itself. They weren't weak. They weren't prey. They weren't alone. Across Earth and its colonies, people rallied together. Nations that had once fought among themselves now stood as one. The divisions of the past no longer mattered. They had a new enemy, and they had a new purpose. "We need to rebuild," Adrian said. "Stronger defenses, more ships. We won today, but the war isn't over." Rowan nodded. "The Council will come back with everything they have." Reyna smirked. "Then we make sure they regret it." The first human empire. Days later, a historic meeting took place on Earth. Leaders from every country, every colony, and every fleet gathered. Adrian stood before them. "The Council calls us a threat. They fear what we can become." He looked at the crowd. "I say let them be afraid." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the hall. "For too long we fought for survival," Adrian continued. "Now we fight for our future. No longer divided, no longer weak. Humanity will rise." The room erupted in cheers. That day the first human empire was born, and the galaxy would never be the same again. A new beginning. Back aboard the Valiant, Adrian, Reyna, and Rowan watched Earth from the bridge. Reyna smirked. "So, what now?" Adrian crossed his arms. "We build, we explore, we grow, and we make sure no one ever threatens humanity again." Rowan chuckled. "Sounds like we just declared war on the entire galaxy." Adrian shook his head. "No, we didn't declare war." He stared into the stars. "We declared our place in the universe." End of story.